What's up, guys? All right, the gate was 2.75 million. There were 15,077 in attendance. The fight of the night, no-brainer, co-main event, Joanna and Zhang. Benil and OMalley got the other bonuses, 50 grand. And then the 50-50 raffle tonight raised $52,000, and that's for a 3 Square food bank here in Las Vegas. Who's got the first question?
Dana, main event was a bit odd to say the least. Not, I guess, maybe what we were hoping for.
Yeah.
Where do you lay blame on that? What's your take on why that fight played out the way it did?
Well, there's two things. That was a tough act to follow after the co-main event, and then I believe that Israel Adesanya fights to the level of his opponent. The Anderson Silva fight was similar to that, and then you think about the Gastelum fight was a war. You know, Gastelum goes after him and tries to take his head off. Whitaker's going after him, trying to take his head off. That fight was great. And you better believe that Paulo Costa's going to go after him. And that fight should be ridiculous. Yeah. You know, I expected Romero. You heard all week, I was literally talking more about the co-main event than I was the main event. I knew that that fight was going to be ridiculous. You have these two incredibly talented savages who wanted that belt more than anything. And, you know, I didn't know if there was going to be a knockout or a submission or something like that, but I knew I was begging people to watch that. You know me, man. When I sell fights, I don't beg anybody to watch anything. I was literally begging people to watch this fight. And it was incredible. But I think that, what I was saying is I'm shocked that Romero knew this was his last opportunity at a world championship. I thought he was going to come out like a bat out of hell, put tons of pressure on him, shoot takedowns, go for, you know, try to knock him out. He did literally none of that. So if you're Adesanya, he fought the smart fight. You stay on the outside. He chopped that leg apart, and he picked his punches and did what he did. You know, Romero did a lot of moving around and acting like I'm trying to fight, but he never really did.
Costa was back here earlier tonight, and he said that he thought the tentative plan was July 11th for that fight.
Yeah. He's got to calm down. I want to hear from a doctor. Again, they told me that he went crazy tonight and jumped over the gate and was going crazy. We threw him out. You know, and I just had to calm those guys down in the back. You know, he wants this fight so bad. When he's healthy, and a doctor calls me and tells me, not his like friend from Brazil, when a doctor calls me and tells me that he's healthy, we'll make this fight. This is the fight to make. This is the fight that I want to see. And I guarantee you, when that fight happens, you'll hear me going crazy about that one. That fight's going to be ridiculous because Paulo Costa will move forward. He will not stop punching. He's going to throw big shots and try to knock him out, and Israel will fight.
The co-main event, as you said, I mean, one of the greatest fights I think we've ever seen. I want to ask you, I mean, when a fight's that good, as a promoter, it seems like the easy thing to be would say, let's run it back again, because who wouldn't sign up to see them fight again? Do you look at that as an option, or does it not make sense?
Did you see what those two girls look like after that fight, man? They're both in the hospital right now. They did not go to a press conference. They did not talk to press. They both went straight to the hospital. They need to go home, take time, heal up, and everything else before I even mention a fight with either one of them again. You know?
Nice. The last thing for me, Dana, there were reports of an incident backstage involving Brian Ortega. Do you have any details?
There was a lot of crazy shit going on tonight. It was weird. Yeah, him and the Zombie got in a fight, which is completely unlike both of their personalities. And Zombie doesn't even speak English, so I don't know what the hell he could have said that would get Ortega to start going crazy. But yeah, it was weird.
Were there like punches thrown? Or?
I guess so. It happened right over in the fighter section. It wasn't backstage, right? It wasn't backstage, was it? No, it was over in the fighter section. It happened during the fight.
Wow. Any legal involvement, or just kind of fighters guys fighting?
Yeah, I don't know anybody getting arrested.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah, right here. Just to elaborate on the co-main event a little bit, I mean, you had said, as you mentioned, coming into this fight, that you were more excited for this than anything on the card. Is this, the best women's MMA fight you've ever seen?
It's one of the best fights I've ever seen. But yes, yeah, I think so. Right here off the top of my head, I would have to say yes, best women's fight I've ever seen, one of the best fights I've ever seen.
Can you give us any insight on the level of interest in China for OMalley in this fight?
This show performed very well everywhere. This show killed it. And I got to say this, I was telling Ioli this earlier, man. I love our fans. Our fans are awesome. Just think about, the stuff that's going on right now, and, one of these reporters tried to say something about this the other day at the thing, and they booed him out of the place. Everybody showed, our ticket sales this week were exactly like a regular week. And the walk-up was huge tonight. Our fans are incredible, man. I think back to when we did the first fight in Las Vegas, it was the week of September 11th. And we were sold out. The fight had been on sale for months. The fight was sold out. And Las Vegas was a ghost town. Nobody was doing anything. Nobody was flying. We didn't know if anybody was even going to show up to the event. The place was packed. There wasn't an open seat anywhere. And it reminds me of tonight. So, thank you to the fans. You guys are incredible.
Any other performances jump off the page? Sean O'Malley.
O'Malley looked good, man. I think that guy's been off for a couple years to come back in and look as sharp as he did. I got to talk to the boys, but I want to turn him around as quick as possible and get him back in there.
Do you think we see him take like a significant step up in competition? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see who's available and who we think. And like I said, I got to talk to the matchmakers about that one and see if we all agree. I don't just say, I'm going to do this. I talk to them, and then we talk about it, we argue, and then we figure out what's right.
And last thing outside of this card, we saw Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski both in the crowd, and they kind of got the split screen treatment on the in-house thing. Is that fight close, that rematch close to being done?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I think so. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
That'd be in Perth. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Who's next? Kev?
Right over here, Dana.
Oh. Hey.
During the years you've been promoting fights, you've built a lot of champions and built a lot of careers. What are some of the challenges you think moving forward with a guy like Israel after a performance like tonight? And what do you think is going to be so easy about promoting Zhang Weili in the future based on her performance tonight?
Yeah, listen, he wanted Romero on his resume. He got it. He won the fight. And you take these things fight by fight. Listen, if anybody thinks I'm wrong, raise your hand right now and we can talk about it. The Costa fight's going to be insane. The Costa fight will be ridiculous. Costa will come forward. He will throw big punches. He will throw combinations. He will not stop punching. And Israel Adesanya is going to have to fight him. And I'm telling you right now, just like I told you Weili Zhang and Joanna was going to be insane, Costa versus Adesanya will be a ridiculous fight. I guarantee it. I absolutely, positively guarantee it. So he got what he wanted. He got him on his resume. He beat him. And on to Costa.
You know, a lot of us think that Adesanya is sort of on the cusp of being one of the biggest superstars that you guys have in the sport. You've seen a lot of guys come and go, GSPs, Anderson Silvas, and then there's other guys like Demetrius Johnson that maybe don't take off, but they're great. At what point do you really start to see these champions evolve from, just being a champion to, a world-class superstar?
Well, again, I think that, you continue to fight and you continue to win. When he goes into the Costa fight, he'll be 19-0. And then whoever comes out of that Romero-Costa fight, the winner, either one of those guys are going to be big stars. If Costa beats Israel Adesanya, he's going to blow up in Brazil. Then it starts to spill over into the other countries, And obviously, if Adesanya beats Costa, it will be in spectacular fashion because Costa's going to try to decapitate him. I can't wait for that fight, if you can't tell. When I'm sitting here today talking about this, the matchmakers didn't love that fight and didn't want to make that fight. They did not want to make Romero versus Adesanya. But the goofy fan in me said, "Are you shitting me? Come on. This will be a fun fight to do." And the fact that he wants to fight a guy that nobody else wants to fight, now, hindsight is 20/20. Probably shouldn't have done that fight. We should have waited for Costa, but oh well, we did it.
What was their rationale that they didn't want to make the fight?
That I didn't? Oh, they didn't? They said it doesn't make sense. can't tell the matchmakers anything that doesn't make sense. Everything has to make sense to those two, you know?
How did you score the women's fight?
Look, Kevin, I was so into that fight. I didn't really score it, but me and Downey Jr. were like giddy little girls getting ready for that fight, and I think when it went in, I think we were both feeling like it was even going into the 5th round. But I honestly couldn't tell you. I didn't really score it. I was just caught up in it.
Obviously, Joanna had a good fight against Michelle Waterson the last time, but do you feel like she raised her game even tonight to get to where she was?
Joanna has looked. She comes to fight. She's incredibly talented. She comes to win. She comes to hurt you. She comes to bust you up, and you know, she's one of the baddest to ever do it.
And Wei Li's, her eye was closing, I think, in the first round, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
She showed a lot of toughness in the fight, too. I mean, obviously she got battered as the fight went on, but even early on when she couldn't see, she was still moving forward.
Not only toughness, her cardio was unbelievable. That was the first time ever into championship rounds, and she looked damn good in those rounds. And what was weird is the first round, it looked like her face started getting whatever, and this eye was swelling up a little bit, but then boom, all of a sudden Joanna looked way worse than Whaley. And I was like, God damn, when did that happen?
Have you had a chance to talk to Yoel? And did he say anything to you afterward?
No, I didn't talk to him.
Do you have any thought on like what would possess a guy at 42 years old, knowing how many title fights he's had, to fight that way?
Right from the belt, he came out and just stood there with his hands up. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I thought he was going to come out like a madman.
You were pretty pissed off in Abu Dhabi after the Anderson Silva Demian Maia fight. Was your level of disappointment the same with this one as you were after that?
Yeah, this was a terrible fight. I mean, if you look at the UFC as a whole, for as long as we've been doing it, you can literally put in one hand shitty fights that we've done. You know what I mean? And it takes two to fight, man. If somebody goes out there and doesn't want to engage and doesn't want to fight, and if you're a guy like if you're a guy like Adesanya, he's got so much more on the line. This is the way the guy's acting. He's going to stay back and he's going to pick him apart the way that he did. That leg was destroyed. We'll see when he comes walking in tonight when you guys see him. I'm sure he's not going to be, he's not going to have a pep in his step tonight. That leg is hurting. And, Adesanya did what he had to do, in my opinion. Why run in there and go crazy against a guy that dangerous when that guy's not fighting at all?
The last thing I wanted to ask you is you announced UFC 165 going into the Hall of Fame tonight, and I couldn't help but think the next fight that you had in the cage afterwards was Joanna and Wei Li, and you have to think that fight may someday be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, that was that caliber fight, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's definitely a Hall of Fame fight, 100%. I mean, I'm sure you guys had the same thing. My phone was going crazy during that fight. Everybody was blowing me up, saying it's the greatest fight they've ever seen. Who's next?
Hey Dan, you're right here.
Hey buddy.
Yeah, good to see you.
You too.
Hey, last June you came on my podcast with LDSportsBiz.com, and you actually talked up Weili Zhang a lot, if I recall. I mean, you were really high on her even before she won the belt. And I'm wondering at this point, once she gets healed up, what do you see for her future with UFC? And I'm wondering if she might be in the same category of an Amanda Nunes, who's a very talented woman fighter, great personality, and I was wondering what could be UFC can do to make these women a little more marketable to mainstream America,
Yeah. So we always knew she was special. We knew she was special, and we started moving her the way you move somebody that you think is special. Then this crazy thing happened where she was ranked number 6, I think, and all the people in front of her either had a fight, just lost a fight, something like that, and she ended up fighting. She was in line for the title to fight Jessica Andrade, who is an absolute beast. And we were saying, is she ready for her? We don't know, but she's next in line. Let's do it. So we decided to do it. and the result was incredible. Tonight, she went in against the best ever from that division, right? The woman who built that division, defended the title 5 times, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk came in ridiculous, incredible shape. The amount of experience she has over Weili Zhang is massive, and you saw how good she looked tonight. I only expect her to get better, look better, and I think she made a lot of fans tonight, you know? She got a good pop from the crowd when she walked out. The fans were behind her, and she murdered it in China, which is more important to me than the U.S. You know, great people like her in the U.S. I love it, and I want people to like her everywhere, but China was a huge success. We will continue to move her around and